Success isn't created by one massive action, right? Success is created by the accumulation of small, very simple habits done consistently over a long period of time. So welcome. Today's video is Simple Habits, Infinite Returns. The concept of this video is all about the power of simple basic habits and the absolutely insane results that they can provide given that you sustain them over a longer period of time, right? So we're going to talk about the power of small habits and utilizing them in your daily life, your daily routine, and how the compound effect of these small habits can actually result in most of the success you are looking for. Most of the things you are searching for are achievable or accessible within you, whether that is wisdom, wealth, health, knowledge about a certain field, a certain set of skills, whatever it is. All of the things that you truly want to unlock over your lifetime are available to you. But depending on the habits you have, you'll have a different level of ability to access these gifts. So based on the type of habits you have, you will have different skills, different mindsets, different levels of energy that you can access. So the habits that you have are very important because they develop and create your character. And then once you have developed and created a specific character, certain skills and traits are easier for you than others. So if you want to build the character of productivity and discipline and having a powerful mindset, then you are going to want the habits of somebody who is disciplined and productive and has a powerful mindset. Before we get started, if you guys want to check out my one-on-one coaching program, you can go to the first link in the description. I'll take you over to Instagram. And you can just send me a DM over there and we'll have a conversation. I do custom tailored programs to individuals. So if you're looking for overall self-improvement and building habits, we will create a custom tailored plan and process just for you, and pricing is based on each plan, so everything is 100% flexible. And then also, if you want to have a fitness focused plan, we can do that as well. It just kind of depends on your specific needs, because right now what I'm doing is I'm developing a program that should be an all-around tool for self-improvement and becoming elite in your field and becoming highly skilled in your field. So the more different types of clients I can work with up until that point, the better I'm going to be able to make this product. So the idea is that there is no one specific program. More so, we will create a custom program specific to your goals. So the power of small habits over a long period of time. As I've mentioned before, success is not created by one massive action, right? Success is created by the accumulation of small habits over a long period of time. So when we maintain a habit of, it could be as simple as meditation, journaling, and reading, or consistent exercise, deep work, yoga, things like this, right? Different habits. When we create a habit of, let's use the example of meditation. When we create a habit of meditation, the first 5 sessions of meditation are going to be kind of difficult, it's not going to make sense. You're not going to feel like you're progressing much. You're going to feel like, this doesn't make sense to me at all, right? But if we keep going after a month to 2 months, maybe even 3 months, well, at this point, it's going to make sense. You're going to be able to access a meditative state a lot easier. You're going to know what the different processes for how to get into a meditation are based on where you're at. So like if your mind's more scattered, maybe you do this. If your mind's less scattered, you do this. So you're a little bit more aware of and experienced with how you meditate and how meditation operates. Also, outside of the meditation, you're going to experience more presence, less overall thoughts, more happiness, more mindfulness, more consciousness and awareness. All of these different things you're going to experience, not because you meditated once, because you meditated once every day over an extended period of time. And so these effects kind of compound, right? At days 1 through 5, you might be able to remove a thought or two. At days 30 through 90, you'll probably stop having these thoughts altogether. And, on from there, you can access deeper and deeper levels of presence, and it will start to have a bleed effect into the rest of the areas of your life. So not only will you continuously progress in meditation, but you might find yourself better at reading, because your brain isn't thinking over what you're reading, and you're able to read a little bit faster, and you're a little bit more aware and present, so you're able to read a little bit better. Things like this, right? These are things you'll notice not because you did it once or twice, but because you did it consistently over a long period of time. And so that habit is starting to ingrain the skills associated into every aspect of your being, not just helping you in meditation, right? And this goes across all of the habits, really. So the power of these small habits is that they don't have a massive impact on your day now, right? Today, a 10-minute meditation won't make much of a difference. I'm sure you'll go and spend the next hour scrolling after this video, or maybe you'll spend an hour watching another video on YouTube. 10 minutes of meditation a day really won't make a crazy difference to your overall day or the experience of your day, but it'll make a massive difference over time to you, your mindset, your mental health, your presence, and your consciousness, and how aware you are, your ability to overcome and control your thoughts and your impulses, all of which are very beneficial. But again, it's not a major impact on your day. However, the effects and the benefits of doing it over a long period of time are massive. And again, they're exponential. So they'll continuously multiply or continuously expand upon how great the effects coming back for you are. And again, this goes across multiple different habits. So meditation is one, but we could also use the example of fitness, right? Fitness today, if a fat person went to the gym today, they'd probably be fucking miserable, right? If a fat person, or just anybody, right? Like, I don't think I'm too fat, but I'm pretty unhealthy nowadays. At least fitness-wise, I've been out of the gym a lot. I've been having, I had a bronchitis for a little while, so I've been having some lung issues. I'm recovering from injuries from snowboarding season, so I've been like in and out of the gym. So my fitness has kind of like tanked a little bit. For me, if I'm going to go to the gym, I'm not even that fat, but I'm still going to be utterly miserable because my fitness is not that good. So if a fat person went to the gym today, they'd be miserable. They'd have a horrible experience. But if they stayed consistent over the course of a week, they would probably still have a miserable experience every day over the course of a week, and they would probably see no results at all. They would probably see no difference, right? They might feel a little bit better about themselves, but realistically, fitness-wise, they're not going to see a difference. Now, that same fat person could be, utterly overweight, like a ridiculous level overweight, I guess you could say. Like this person's going to be in the gym for a while. They got to really work at it, right? That same person that looks like they could never be in shape, after 2 years of being in the gym, could actually be in really, really, really good shape. And that's because this person in my example stayed consistent throughout those 2 years, stayed consistent on the diet, stayed consistent on their sleep, stayed consistent on their actual workouts. And as a result, they can completely transform their body, and as a result, the rest of their lives, right? They can transform the rest of their lives through simply maintaining a stable and very simple habit over a longer period of time. So these habits seem small now. They don't seem like they'll have a massive impact now, but neither does smoking weed or watching porn. But over a long period of time, these small habits compound and accumulate into massive results, which is why they are so powerful. They don't take much, they don't require much up front, but if sustained, meaning all that has to be applied here is discipline and consistency. So if sustained, can absolutely transform your entire life and your entire experience of your life. So obviously we have talked about the importance of having good habits, but how do we build the right habits in order to positively impact our lives? Now the key here is to understand what habits are good and what habits are bad. So a real easy way to look at this is instant and delayed gratification. Instant gratification is anything that gives you the satisfaction you're looking for now at the cost of some type of satisfaction later down the line or in the future. Whereas delayed gratification is the opposite. It may be a little bit more uncomfortable now or a little bit more difficult now, but will result in a positive impact later down the line. So an example of delayed gratification would be like working, for example. When you have a business that you enjoy and that you like, right? Working can still be difficult. It can still require effort. But putting in that effort, even though it's not giving me the satisfaction of having a successful business right now in this moment, that's not what I'm experiencing right now, right? It is the work or the effort that will eventually get me that experience. So it is difficult now, but if sustained over a long period of time, it'll result in the thing that I'm looking for, which is a successful business. Or if we're going to talk about fitness, right? Fitness, if I go to the gym today, it might be difficult today, but next week I might notice that I feel or look a little bit better. Whereas instant gratification activities would be something like smoking weed, for example. It's enjoyable right now, it's nice right now, but then in 2 or 3 hours you're going to feel worse, right? Porn is the same thing. TikTok or scrolling is the same thing. Eating junk food is the same thing. All of these things give some level of satisfaction now, but at the cost of more satisfaction later down the line. So building the right habits means building habits that will actually support your growth in whatever field you want to go. So I'll just give you a few examples, right? Meditation, obviously, journaling, obviously meditation because we talked about it, and then also journaling, exercise, some form of exercise, the gym, walking, running, whatever you enjoy, right? As long as you're moving consistently, that's what matters. So exercise, and then deep work. So if you have some form of work that you do, some form of business work, making a habit of deep work every day. Basically, deep work is just a structure to work within. But having a habit of deep work every day can help you to be more productive, and it can be a habit to implement if you have this kind of work. Then another thing is reading. Obviously, just reading books every day is great. And then there are a bunch of other things we can talk about, right? Breath work, yoga, all of these other things that we can implement. But the main thing is to identify a set of specific habits that you find to be the most effective for you and implement them consistently into your day-to-day. And so we kind of briefly talked about this, but delayed gratification versus instant gratification's long-term effects. Just to quickly recap, I guess, delayed gratification, it may be difficult or require effort now, but over the long term, that will actually result in something positive, whereas instant gratification, it feels nice now, it gives you that satisfaction now, but in the future will result in more negative gains. So the power of micro habits in productivity. So I love micro habits. I think they're a very interesting topic because I don't hear a lot of people talking about micro habits, but they are essentially small habits that I use in my day-to-day to optimize for my productivity. So an example of a micro habit would be when I show up to the office here, I have my desk set up. I have, this is a standing desk that I can put up and down, but I have my light fixture, I have my tripod, I have my microphone, and then I have, it's like a little battery pack for my light because I don't have a wall close enough to plug my light in when I'm standing up here, so I use a little battery pack. Basically, all of these items have a specific place on my desk, and so the first thing I do when I show up every day is I, in a specific order, always take out each item that I need for my recording setup, and I build my setup, I put my phone down, find my scripts, I pick the page of whatever video I'm recording at that point, and then I have everything set up, including my phone. So if I wanted to get distracted, I have to actually take my phone off my recording setup to go and scroll. Or, I don't have a phone to distract myself with otherwise, so usually I lock in. And that's kind of the idea. That's just a micro habit of, even if I was to have to use the bathroom or if I have to go on a walk before I am going to record, I do that setup because at that point, at least for me, I know that I'm going to record the video because there is one button click in between me and starting the recording. So I'm way less likely to procrastinate it because it's actually going to be easier for me to just get through recording the video than to try and avoid it at this point. So that's an example of a micro habit. It's a very small habit, which is just when I show up, I set up my recording setup. But it optimizes my productivity because it makes it easier for me to be more productive. So micro habits can be things that remove resistance from your big task. Another example of a micro habit is what I do with my gym bag. So I have my gym bag, I leave it in my room, and it always has a fresh and clean pair of gym clothes in it. So it's always clean, always ready to go. I take it, I go to the gym. When I come home from the gym, my little micro habit is I take out whatever gym outfit I wore for that day and I throw it in the dirty clothes, and then I get a new gym outfit, a fresh outfit, and I put it in the bag and I put the bag down ready for the next day. Right? So that's a micro habit, meaning every time I go to the gym, all I have to do is grab my bag and go, and it's always ready because every time I get home, I always have this micro habit of resetting my gym bag and making sure it's ready to go for the next time. So you can just go through and identify maybe what are some of the bigger things you do in the day and what are some ways you can remove some resistance from doing those things. So another like micro habit would be, for example, I fill up my water bottle every night before I go to bed so that I have it to bring with me the next day, wherever I'm going. So I always have my water bottle on me. And then I wash my water bottle at night when I'm done. I empty it, I wash it out, I let it dry for a little while, and then again, before I go back to bed, I fill it back up and I leave it out. These are all examples of micro habits that you can use to remove resistance from your more important tasks and optimize productivity in those tasks. So the last section is changing your identity to solidify the right habits. So obviously changing your habits in order to align with a certain outcome is the key here, right? That is the point of the video, is to encourage you to adopt smaller habits that over a longer period of time could have positive impacts on your life. The easiest way, however, to do this and solidify these habits is to change and alter your identity to match whatever lifestyle or outcome or goals that you want to actually have. So if you want to be a more productive person, if you want to be on self-improvement and you want to be working on your business and you want to be, developing in what you see as the right direction, you need to align your identity with that person, right? If I have the identity of a loser, right? Somebody who doesn't put in the effort, somebody who enjoys the instant gratification or enjoys the pleasurable activities, right? Enjoys being lazy, enjoys smoking weed and watching porn and doing all these lesser habits, then those are going to be the more automatic habits or the easier habits for me to do. If my identity, however, is of an entrepreneur, somebody who is productive, focused, right, disciplined, well, then the habits of that type of person are going to naturally be a lot different, which is going to make it easier for me to apply myself to those specific habits because that's my identity. That's what my identity aligns with. So depending on what your identity aligns with, it's going to be easier or more difficult for you to adopt certain habits. So you want to address and identify what your current state of or sense of self is, right? So what is your current identity? How do you currently view yourself? And then how can you alter it in a way that you can then go ahead and have the identity and the habits you do want? So for example, if you identify that you don't think you can be successful because nobody in your family's ever been successful, right? You can change and alter that thought to match the new identity, which is, well, I'm going to be successful because it's who I am. Doesn't matter what family I'm born into, I'm going to create success regardless, right? These different mindsets, or the difference in these mindsets is one person is going to stay stuck right where they are. They're going to stay stuck living the same life their parents did, right? Whereas person number two, he's going to be able to break out of that pattern that he thought was the reason for why he couldn't become successful, right? Because patterns aren't set in stone, right? A pattern is just a pattern. It means it's an action that's been consistently expressed or done over a longer period of time. But this pattern can be altered. It can be changed at any point in the pattern. It's just that one of the units in the sequence has to decide rather to break the sequence, right? So if we have three people, a grandfather, a father, and a son, and the grandfather has this habit of smoking tobacco pipe all the time, and the father picks up that habit, right? So now there's a pattern. Well, the son has a choice. The son can pick up the same habit and continue or perpetuate the pattern, or the son can choose to break the pattern by simply not smoking out of a pipe, just not starting to smoke tobacco. By breaking the pattern, however, you're creating a new sequence, right? So now you can actually initiate whatever pattern you want from this point forward. So if you've broken a previous pattern, you've broken a previous chain, well, now you get to reestablish a new pattern, right? You've reestablished a new chain. So, okay, you break the pattern of being lazy and inconsistent, and you reestablish that the place where that pattern inhabited, right? So there's a certain spot in your mind that wants to play out a consistent pattern and a consistent rhythm, right? So when you break a pattern, there is a space that needs to be filled with a new pattern, a new routine, something consistent that isn't out of alignment with what you wanted, because that's why you would have broken the previous pattern. So now you replace it with a new pattern by integrating a new routine. If you break an old pattern and you don't replace it with anything, eventually those same neurotransmitters and neural connections will reestablish themselves and start to fire the same way they did before, which will eventually reignite the habit or the pattern. So you want to break the pattern, and then you want to replace it with a new pattern, with something that's actually going to be in alignment with, or that's going to match the direction that you do want to go. And so once we can actually solidify a powerful identity that matches the habits we want to have, going ahead and doing those habits consistently will then reinforce that new identity, which will create a strengthened bond between those two, identity and action and habit, which will solidify it and make it feel real and make it feel as though it is actually your experience and not something you're just telling yourself. Whereas without the habits, we don't actually solidify the identity. And without the identity, we don't solidify or find connection to the habits. So that is all I have for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe to the channel. Anyone who has watched this far, if you want to summarize the video in the comments down below, that would be awesome. I appreciate that. Or if you just want to leave key points that you gathered from the video, all of which is helpful for me. And if you guys want to check out my one-on-one program, you can go ahead and DM me over on Instagram. It should be the first link in my description. So that is all I have, though, and I'm out of here. Peace.